Nigeria stand up, Nigeria stand up. Join me say, yeah. What a great nation. Oh, yeah. Yeah. If I told you how I came this far and all the things that I've been through, need I tell you that I've been to hell? I've seen it all and done it all. Growing up as a child. As a people, with one song, with one voice, we're a nation undivided and poised. We will take a stand and build our land in faith to defend what is ours. Here we are as a people with one heart for one cause. We're determined to rebuild and restore.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we be upstanding as we recognize the presence of our special guest and chairman for today's event, the distinguished Senator Pius JCON, former Senate President, former Secretary to the Federation. Can we please put our hands together and welcome him as he joins us this morning? You're very welcome, sir. I think we should just do the needful and ask him to come over to the high table so we can get this ball rolling. Just before he came in, a very elegant mother graced this room with her presence. The former Minister of Science and Technology, Grace Akpe, is representing His Excellency Chief James Ibori, former Governor of Delta State. Can we please put our hands together for her? Ma, welcome. We thank you for being here, ma'am.
Tribes, different tongues, we're united in our strength and resolve to uphold the honor of our land and for generations to come, and for generations to come. We are would shine like the sun. From the north, south, east, and west, somebody say, if you believe to the same, would you fill the Lord with all we have? Yeah, 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 yeah.
Distinguished Senator Itayenan, can you please do us the favor of coming to join the former Senate President on the high table, please? Thank you very much. I'd like to also welcome distinguished Senator Effiong Bob to do the same and join the former Senate President on the high table. Thank you very much. Exactly. We just need the maize. But do they have a sitting for formers? They do. Oh, he said yes. So we can do and undo in this hall this morning. Thank you very much. I also want to welcome to the high table the book reviewer himself, Professor Philip Afaga. Sir, please could you come over to the high table? Thank you very much, sir.
If I told you how I came this far and all the things that I've been through, need I tell you that I've been to hell? I've seen it all and done it all. Growing up as a child. Here we stand as a people with one song, with one voice. We're a nation undivided and voice. We will
I do know the President Guild of Editors in the hall. Sir.
build our land in faith to defend what is ours. Here we are as a people with one heart for one cause. We're determined to rebuild it.
Sir Akpandem, I need your attention, please. 1 minute. Mr. Mustafa Issa is the President Guild of Editors. Sir, can we please welcome you once again? Do stand up. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Now the editing is final and done. Thank you for being in this hall. Dr. Ndabawa, can we please welcome him? He's the National President, Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. Okay, he was a former political advisor to the president. As a matter of fact, I was summoned to the Senate to make sure he's in the sitting. We need to invite him over. Sir, please welcome. Can we please put our hands together for him? He was in charge of conference proceeding at the national conference which took place in 2014. Sir, thank you for being here. I think we're going to head over to the national anthem now so that we can get this ball rolling. Mommy, you know that when it comes about gender equality, we need to be very sensitive. And Mr. Chairman have also acknowledged the fact that he's looking around him and there is nothing that makes a man's heart flutters more than the presence of a woman. And so we're going to invite to the high table my big sister, who is representing His Excellency Chief James Onanefe Ibori, my Grace Akpe, please do come over to the high table. Can we please usher her up here? Can we put our hands together for her? Thank you very much. Migwama. right, earlier I did recognize the presence of my big brother, Mr. Kola Ologbodiyan, former National Publicity Secretary for the PDP. I have now been informed that he's not just here as Mr. Kola alone, he is also doubling as a GCON, representing the former Senate President, distinguished Senator David Bonaventure Mack. Can we please welcome the Senator, please? Thank you very much. We appreciate you for being here. Can we now rise for the national anthem? Thank you very much. Please, we may be seated. Before we do the opening prayer, let me tell you this morning that in March 17th, 2014, then President Goodluck Jonathan inaugurated the national conference. The conference had about 492 delegates that represented a cross-section of Nigeria, including professional groups. What were the interests? What were the intrigues that shaped that conference? That's what we're here to find out and reveal with the presentation of this book. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you once again. My name is Rita Onome Ewujuwo. I'm a broadcast journalist. I see a lot of my senior colleagues in the house. Thank you for being here, sirs. We're gentlemen of the press, so I will leave it there. This morning, our chairman is wearing two caps. The distinguished Senator Ayim Pius Ayim, former Senate President, former Secretary, Government of the Federation, seated here today, is not just here in his own capacity, which is a capacity big enough if you ask me. He's also representing former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Can we please, in that capacity, welcome him once again? Sir, thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Shall we now make welcome for the opening prayer, Pastor Ezekwesili? Sir, please.
Please may we stand. You are the Alpha. You are the Omega. We want to start this with you, continue with you, and end with you. Let everything that we've done today be to the glory of your holy name. In Jesus' almighty name we pray. Please be seated.
Thank you very much, Pastor Chinedu Ezekwesili. Thanks for being here, and thank you for the opening prayer. Short, precise, and straight to heaven. Can we now please welcome, for a welcome remark, one of the authors of the book that we're unveiling today, or presenting if you like. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Akpandem James for his welcome remark. Please let's put our hands together for him.
chairman of the occasion, distinguished Senator Pius Ayim, representing the former president, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, Chairman, we're expecting the Chairman National Electoral Commission here, the 2014 conference delegates that are here, eminent personalities gathered, erudite scholars, my professional colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. 8 years ago, notable Nigerians were gathered in this same city, Abuja, to deliberate on the way forward for this country. It followed agitations from several quarters on the need to take a much deeper look at those things that constitute a drag to the forward march of this country. They were not only to profess solutions, but to chart a new course. The work was done. But they were much more than the public got to know. Having been in the inner recesses of the conference, we decided to tell the inside story in this book, which we have respectfully invited you to help us present to the global audience. On behalf of my brother and colleague, Mr. Sam Akpe, and our partner in this project, the next edition, I formally welcome you to this event. At the end of the proceedings, Sam will do the appropriate thank you. But for now, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome.
Thank you very much. There are quite a number of people who were supposed to be here this morning that couldn't make it. Mr. Chairman, sir, they sent in some apologies. I'll just read their names out with your permission before we welcome you for your remarks. We have Hajia Bola Shagaya that is outside the country, and Mr. Udom Inoyo, he's outside the country. Professor Yadudu, outside the country. Senator Ken Namane is also not in the country right now. Senator Udoma, also not in the country. Senator Victor Udoma Egba has also traveled outside of Nigeria. His Excellency Obong Victor Atta has an urgent engagement. That's why he's not with us this morning. Barrister Ekponta, the Chairman Salaries and Wages Commission, had an urgent engagement and had to meet that, so he couldn't make it here. His Excellency Chief Shegun Oshoba, previous commitment in Lagos, while Mr. Fola Adiola is being installed today in Lagos as president of the Metropolitan Club. That's why he's not with us, but we thank them for recognizing, receiving, and acknowledging the importance of today's event. Can we now please join me as I do welcome with all sense of humility. I have the honor to welcome for his remarks this morning, or opening statement, if you like, our distinguished chairman, indeed a distinguished senator, Ion Pius. I was going to keep talking. He gave me a smile that said, that's enough now. Welcome, sir.
Distinguished members of the high table, my friend and brother, Elijah Dabawa, a representative of the president, my distinguished colleague,
distinguished Senator Bob, the reviewer, the representative of my brother and friend, Senator Ibori, distinguished members of the audience, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. When this conference was being organized, I was Secretary to Government of the Federation. And as Secretary to Government of the Federation, we have one principal rule. Where the President was going to speak, no appointee of his should speak. And if you are to speak, like I usually found myself, you are only going to introduce him or introduce the subject matter, then you invite him to speak. And within that period, I learned so many things, one of which was how to speak within 2 minutes, no matter the subject matter. And I do remember that when we inaugurated the conference, I spoke, I made the opening speech to introduce the president, and it was for 2 minutes. So let me say today that I am not sharing this very important occasion in my personal capacity. I am simply representing Mr. President, which means Mr. President is going to speak, and so I must not be heard. It is much more so because the President has a written speech which he asked me to deliver. But the only thing I need to add is that considering the importance of this event, Mr. President would have been here personally. But unfortunately, he had an international engagement in Mali, and he left on Friday and presently is out of the country. And he called me up and said I should be here to represent him and present his short speech. I'm only going to do exactly just that. I will not add a word. I will not subtract anything. If I read it very well, please clap for me. If for any reason I am not presenting it so well, please bear with me. Mr. President's welcome opening speech. Remarks by His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, GCFR, GCON, President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, 2010 to 2015, at the public presentation of the National Question, a book by Akpandem James and Sam Akpe, Abuja, Tuesday, June 28, 2022. I am pleased to be part of the public presentation of this special book titled The National Conversation. I thank the authors, Akpandem James and Sam Akpe, for inviting me to chair the event. I would have loved to be here physically to present or carry out this important function myself. But unfortunately, I had to travel abroad for an equally significant international assignment. Hence, my decision to assign former Secretary to Government of the Federation and former President of the Senate, Hanyim Pius Hanyim, to represent me at this event. Once again, I commend Akpandem and Sam for this great idea of documenting the experiences of the 2014 National Conference, including the intrigues, schemes, interests, and the side attractions that formed part of the activities that produced the beautiful document we have as the report of the conference. I believe that such a historic event would continue to attract the attention of writers and historians as a way of documenting and preserving all that went down for the future generation. I am pleased that this work has been put together by no less individuals than seasoned journalists who participated directly in the conference, with Mr. Akpandem James playing a key role as the media officer of the conference. I thank them especially because they have made it easier in this book for people to understand the vision of the conference. It is understandable that not everybody will have the time and take the pains to go through the 900 pages report. This book, I believe, is therefore designed to give the people a bird's-eye view of the document, and it is being launched at the most appropriate time, a time the country is preparing for the next general election. I see their effort as a way of preserving this monumentous national accomplishment in an engaging book for posterity. There is no doubt that a conference of this nature will continue to generate interests and debates, with people approaching the discourse from the viewpoints of their belief, sectional sentiments, political orientation, and ideological persuasion. The comments, appraisal, and controversy have continued many years after the conference. One of the questions that has been variously asked has to do with why my administration did not implement the recommendations of the conference before leaving office. Although I had offered reasons for this on many occasions and even addressed it in my book titled My Transition Hours, the concern has continued to reoccur. However, since this is the first major public event on the 2014 confab after I left office, I feel obliged to offer further explanation on my thoughts on the conference. The essence of the 2014 conference was to encourage a healthy conversation among the populace, address the queries agitating the minds of Nigerians, and mend fences where possible. As at that time, it was obvious that the ethnic nationalities were singing discordant tones on the state of the nation and future of the country. The widening fault lines posed a clear threat to the stability and existence of our dear nation. In responding to the yearnings of the people, my administration inaugurated the conference to provide the opportunity for Nigerians to discuss their issues and agree on the way forward. My message to the conference was very clear, that they could discuss everything save for the sovereignty of our great country, Nigeria. I believe, like most Nigerians, that we are better off as one united country. The ethnic diversity and population of our great country can be deployed to enhance our economic development and our relevance in the global scheme of things. On the contrary, disintegration into smaller fragments will diminish the status of our people and their standing in the world. As a show of concern and demonstration of goodwill of our administration, my charge to the conference was to discuss matters comprehensively and exhaustively before agreeing on a common point. I implored the members not to rely on simple majority if they must vote on any issue, but a convincing approval of no less than 75% of the members before passing any decision. I am happy that most of the resolutions reached were not through voting, but by overwhelming consensus. That showed that the conference tried to mend fences and create a common focus for the country. As the chairman of this event, I will not take too much time because I know that the guest speaker and the reviewers and the book reviewers will have all the time to ventilate the issues. It is their day. However, I would be remiss in my duties if I do not use this unique opportunity to address this particular issue which some people continue to raise on the implementation of the confab report. Whenever people say that I should have implemented its recommendations, my feelings is either those people did not understand the political environment at the time, the length of time it would take to implement the report of the conference like that, or probably were just playing politics with such an important matter. Those knowledgeable about the process of constitutional reforms will know that to implement the confab report, a number of alterations will be made in the Constitution, which will require the involvement of National Assembly and state assemblies. Such a elaborate review couldn't have been possible at the time because by the time the report was submitted in August 2014, we were already on the verge of a general election. It is also important to point out that at that time, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Aminu Waziri Tambawa, who was a member of my party, the People's Democratic Party, had already moved out with some members to the opposition. That meant that a reasonable part of the National Assembly was already were already anti-government. When you know that your parliament is under that kind of situation, it would have been imprudent on my part to take such a precious document, which I consider as crucial to our development yearnings, to a parliament that would not give it due consideration. If we had a task that would require the alteration of the Constitution, enactment of new laws, and amendment of some existing ones, there was no way that could have been done overnight. We were also fully aware that for the segment of our population that were already suspicious of all the actions of government, our intentions could have been misread, especially against the backdrop of the ECOWAS Protocol on constitutional reforms, which states that no substantial modification shall be made to the electoral laws of member states in the last 6 months before election. When I contested the 2015 elections, my expectations were that I would win a second term, within which period I would have worked for the implementation of the confab report. I felt that within the next 4 years mandate, my first 2 years would have been dedicated to implementing a reasonable part of the recommendations. If we take politics out of our national calculations, we would all agree that with a fresh government, it would have been easier to achieve the implementation of the report. One of the problems of this country is that we like playing politics with things that have very much to do with national interest. We play politics with our security, we play politics with our economy, we play politics with almost everything. That definitely is not the way to go if we must make progress in realizing our national aspirations and national goals. May God bless the soul of Justice Idris Kutigi, chairman of the conference, who died in 2018. However, the vice chairman, Professor Bolaji Akiyemi, and other members who are still alive can testify that I never interfered with any decision of the conference. I can recall a particular incident when the chairman and his vice approached me for guidance on a pressing matter before them, but I bluntly told them to figure it out themselves. I reminded them that apart from the representations of the youths, representatives of the youths, human rights, and student groups, most of the members of the conference, up to 60% of them, were older and even more experienced than myself. I encouraged them to deploy their vast experiences to execute the assignment without interference. In closing, I implored our citizens to realize that the 2014 conference was neither about me nor my administration, neither about me nor what my administration stood to gain from it at that time. It was all about the good of our country, our children, our grandchildren. I plead with Nigerians not to play politics with the 2014 conference report. I believe that at the appropriate time, the country, through a dedicated parliament, will do the right thing. And the right thing is to duly and dispassionately consider the report of the conference with a view to implementing the recommendations for the good of our country. I thank you all.
Thank you, sir. You obviously read it well. They clapped, sir. Like you said, if I read it well, please applaud me. They are not bearing with you, sir. Can we please celebrate Mr. President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan? The speech we just heard, ably delivered by our distinguished Senator, Ayim Pius Ayim, who is representing him today. He said this is the first public event on the 2014 National Conference. This is the first one, and you are in it. We're better off as a nation. He gave them what to say, what to do, but do not touch the unity. When you have a nation as heterogeneous as ours, as I dare say polarized as ours, it is not easy to steer the affair of the country. But from every word you've read there, you see a genuine interest to make a difference. We could have worked on it, but report was submitted when? August. Election was February. And I do remember very well, sir, when the former speaker did not just move, it was a mass movement, and then they went on recess immediately. So it was almost impossible to get anything done. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please put our hands together for Mr. Chairman once again? And now to review the book, let us make welcome someone whose primary interest is research. He has done it so well, he has become a professor at it. And he does not just do research, he does research on intergroup relations and public diplomatic issues. Ladies and gentlemen, our book reviewer for today is with us in the house. Can we please put our hands together as we welcome Professor Philip Afaga? Can we please celebrate him? Thank you so much, sir. I thought you were still clapping. Thank you. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, President Goodluck Jonathan, ably represented by His Excellency, Senator Pius Ayim, former President of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, former Secretary to the Government of the Federation. I want to also greet respectfully the senior citizens on the high table, and I want to also greet our distinguished guests on the other high table. Review of the national conversation, interests and intrigues that shape the 2014 National Conference. The amalgamation of 1914 by Lord Lugard brought the northern and southern protectorates of Nigeria together. But the 2014 National Conference can be said to be the first genuine attempt at bringing together the peoples of Nigeria to profile solutions to their country's fault lines. Although the 2014 exercise was not the first time Nigerians gathered to dialogue about their country, it is widely believed to have been the closest Nigeria came to resolving the problems of our nationhood. The 2014 National Conference was historic in many aspects. It was the most successful national conference since independence in 1960. Despite its shortcomings, the conference brought together a team of rivals, as in the case of Abraham Lincoln. Two veteran journalists Akpandem James and Sam Akpe, who saw action in the conference, decided to put their inks to paper. And that endeavor is what brought us here today. The book, The National Conversation, Interests and Intrigues That Shaped the 2014 National Conference, was conceived to put on record for posterity why President Goodluck Jonathan braced the odds to convene the conference. Cast in 633 pages, 23 chapters, published in 2022 by Wordsworth Limited, the National Conversation comes with a silhouette picture of the 2014 conference at its cover design. The book is a reader's companion as it conveys, according to Professor Bolaji Akinjemi, who wrote its foreword, quote, a deep insight of not just what the conference was about or why it was called, but what actually happened that were not on public display, unquote. It comes complete with an appendix containing the list of delegates by classification and regions, list of committees by responsibilities and membership, list of women, delegates who died during the conference, president's speeches during the inauguration and closing ceremony, and chairman's speeches at the inauguration and submission of the conference report. According to the authors, the 2014 National Conference almost ended before it started. That means there were so many intrigues bordering on ethnic, religious, and political blocks as usual. Most of these intrigues escaped public notice because even the most diligent mainstream media operators could not capture them. Such intrigues needed to be captured and preserved so that we can learn our lessons as a nation. Written in descriptive prose, the National Conversation chronicles the historic dialogue whose aim, according to Professor Akinyemi, deputy chair of the conference, was to realistically examine, to genuinely resolve long-standing hurdles to national cohesion and harmonious development, unquote. Whether this was achieved to the satisfaction of all sections of the country or not is a matter in the public domain. The focus of this book, however, is how certain factors and their complex interrelations help shape the conference outcomes, regardless of which you agree with. The writers wanted a book that was reader-friendly, not too bulky, as you can see, but deep enough to convey their message. Akpandem James and Sam Akpe, therefore, translated their conference memoirs into three distinct but related sections, namely, build-up analysis, issues that shape the conference, and critical governance issues. Section 1, build-up and analysis, has 3 chapters. It provides answers to the query as to whether the conference was necessary in the first place. There are many reasons that can be adduced for this, but chief among them is the question of implementation of the critical, if substantial resolutions post-conference. Nigeria has had similar national conferences, but the implementation of key conference considerations and resolutions have lagged behind the enthusiasm that initiated the conferences. Nigeria is a country in which, quote, national resolutions are viewed and evaluated through sectional lenses prior to implementation. The term marginalization is therefore a star boy of our socio-political, cultural national lexicon. Because having nationally resolved to, why should a sectional interest impede the journey of such a national assignment is perplexing, but subject of another book. However, as it will be seen in the book, the 2014 National Conference resolutions suffered the same fate as was envisaged by its skeptics. Nigeria was at the threshold of another general election, and many, particularly political opponents, saw it as a campaign strategy by the Jonathan administration, because even though it was necessary, if it became eventually successful, it will politically benefit the president. That was the thinking. There were other direct pre-conference hurdles. For instance, the nomenclature of the conference itself, whether it should be national dialogue, national conference, sovereign people's conference, or sovereign national conference. Others include the cost, delegate selection, timing, and other contingencies. The conference took off on the 3rd March 2014 with a prime mission to, quote, engage in intense introspection about the political and socio-economic challenges confronting Nigeria, and to chart the best and most acceptable way for the resolution of such challenges in the collective interest of all the constituent parts of the country, unquote. These issues include the Constitution, issues addressed by past conferences, form and structure of government, devolution of powers, revenue and resource control, state police, local government and state creation, etc. But the oneness and indivisibility of Nigeria was not under discussion. Section 2 has 8 chapters and focuses on the dramatis personae and the issues that shape the conference. It also highlights on the background, composition, and representation of the conference delegates as compared to the American Constitutional Convention. Next was women at the conference, conference rules, procedures, voting, and the 50 Wise Men Committee, consensus group, conference committees, and the extracurricular activities, so to say, that form part of the conference. Even if humorous, in this, you will know Mama Market, Mama Diaspora, and Mama Gombe, a woman who eminently qualifies as the mother of the nation for the role she played during the national conference. Section 3, which is the largest with 12 chapters, deals with critical issues that triggered the conference ab initio. Those issues include 1, devolution of power and the issue of resource control. 2, politics and governance of a beleaguered entity. 3, political parties and electoral matters. 4, national security. A critical governance subject matter. 5, religion. Much ado about nothing. 6, immunity clause. To be or not to be. 7, give us this day our state police. 8, the craze and crave for state creation. 9, contentions, land use act, and boundary issues. 10, cattle roads and grazing reserves. 11, fertilizing agriculture and water resources. 12, people at the conference, the forerunners and the potentates. Conclusion. This book has to be written because the public will be deprived of access to crucial decisions at the national conference if such decisions were left in official records. The book was dreamt of and executed to put in simple journalistic and understandable terms how these decisions were taken, why they were taken, and what the decisions were. What Akpandem, James, and Sam Akpe did not interrogate in their book, which every Nigerian itches to unravel, is why the resolution of this 2014 National Conference were never implemented. There are 2 stark realities as one flips through these pages. Nigeria knows her problems, but lacks the will to resolve them. The second is that constant conversations remains the only savior for our nationhood. In addition to its numerous advantages, the national conversation is a loud reminder that Nigerians must keep talking, not at themselves as we have now, but to and with themselves. The national conversation must continue respectfully. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I believe we can do better. Can we give him another resounding applause for that very brief yet compact review? You don't just stay in a couple of minutes and condense for understanding a 333 pages book. Okay, 23 chapters and 3 sections. I saw the reaction when you talked about the 50 wise men committee. Somebody was asking, are you one of them? Okay, I won't say anything. I know we have some delegates in the house. We'll soon find out which one of them was a member of the wise men committee. You said the decision reached, how they were reached, why they were reached. You will find in that book. The only part, he said, they did not interrogate, I believe Mr. President spoke to when he was here. Can we please put our hands together for him one more time? At this time, I'd like to quickly jump to some goodwill messages. I have been told we need to finish this in another 30 minutes. The conveners are very respectful of our time. We know it's a Tuesday, and we want to get this over and done with quickly. I'm going to respectfully ask some persons to come forward for a goodwill message before the book is officially presented. But before I do that, I'd like to recognize the presence of Honorable Sam Chinedu Onwaso, a member House of Reps representing Awka North and South Federal Constituency. He's actually here representing Chief Ben Ndeobi. Can we please put our hands together for him? Thank you very much. Honorable Nicon Omana, member House of Representatives, is also here. Can we please recognize his presence? Thank you for being here. Please, thank you, sir, for standing up for recognition. Now, do please join me and welcome for his brief goodwill message, Dr. Akilu Ndaboa. Can we please welcome him for his brief goodwill message? Mr. President and Mr. Chairman told me earlier, he needs to come up the high table. He was there, part of those who midwifed the process. Welcome, sir.
Mr. Chairman of the occasion, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, ably represented by His Excellency, Senator Anyum Faiz Anyum, the former President of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, former Secretary to the Government, distinguished members of the higher table, and members of the high table. Good morning. Good afternoon. My task is simple. I want to appreciate the very bold efforts and initiatives of the two authors, particularly my brother and friend, James Akpandem. James was a very critical partner in delivering the national conference. His office was in charge of the media and publicity of the conference. And I can testify how very efficiently and effectively he brought the proceedings and everything pertaining to that conference to the public view in a very professional way. I want to congratulate James for for an excellent and professional work at that conference, and more importantly, for documenting his own version of what he and his co-author consider to be the interests and the intrigues that shaped that conference. But in doing so, I want to pay special tribute to my leader, my boss, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, whose very patriotic stand on national issues and a very objective way of handling them actually led to the conception and delivery of the conference itself. We recall in his national broadcasts celebrating 100 years of Nigeria's existence, October 1st, 2013, he kickstarted the process by announcing the establishment of a Committee on National Dialogue, which was headed by Senator Okuromu and my humble self as the secretary. That was the beginning. And that committee, we call Committee on Presidential Advisory Committee on National Dialogue. That was the first initiative that led to the national conference. It was that committee that worked out the framework for the conference itself. Some of us participated in the work of that committee, and we went around the whole country to interact with stakeholders, critical stakeholders, on issues of national dialogue and came up with recommendations to government. Our recommendations are subjected to very close scrutiny. One of the recommendations that actually shaped the composition of the conference still remains so fresh in my mind. His Excellency, the chairman, who was then the SGF, was the main facilitator of everything to do with national dialogue and eventually the national conference. The Committee on National Dialogue, led by Senator Okuromu, we recommended a conference to be made up of 360 members, equivalent to the number of members at the House of Reps. And we thought for them to have legitimacy, they need to be elected. But we're not unaware of side questions that will come up with elections of delegates into the conference. Nonetheless, elections would cost government substantial amount of money, which at that time government could not afford because it ran into billions. And so that was how the idea of getting critical stakeholders from all aspects and sectors of this country came up. Eventually we had 492 delegates with a few additions here and there. But one important point, which Mr. President, every represented, had made, was his statesman-like manner of handling the affairs of the conference. First, among 6 of us that constituted the conference management committee, I was the only one that the president actually has contact with. I was the only one the president knew. I was the only person that has any link whatsoever with the president, the SGF, and the government. But I can testify on my honor before man and God, there was no time either President Jonathan or SGF Senator Anyim ever tried to influence anything at that conference. One instance that I recall, I'm sorry I'm taking your time, but these are important because they are part of the intrigues. One incident that I recall was when a prominent leader, whose name I am not ready to disclose here, tried to drop the name of the president. Justice Kutigi of blessed memory called me, said, well, you are the president's man here. And this is what this leader is saying, that the president directed this and that. But although I have not interacted with the president in any way, I can bet if the president actually directed that so and so should be done. Can you please find out? There and then I said, well, Mr. Chairman, I'm grateful you are able to understand how my boss works and his strength of mind. I can confirm to you, even before speaking to him, that that leader is on his own. The first thing I did was to conduct the main facilitator of the conference of government, His Excellency, the SGF. He just laughed. He said, well, you know you're a man now. The man cannot do that. Please don't even talk to you about it. It's not possible. Besides that, I reached out to President Jonathan. When I spoke to him, and I do so in the company of a very good friend of mine who was also a prominent delegate, Senator Nimi Amange. Along with Senator Amange, he spoke to the president. So, President, this is what so leader said. He laughed. He said, if I'm going to give any instruction or indicate any interest in anything you people are doing, it will be through you, because you are the only one I know among the conference management. Please disregard that and never accept anything that anybody will tell you by dropping my name. President Jonathan, a great patriot, a great leader. I celebrate him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. He said, President Jonathan, a great patriot, a great leader. In case you don't know, we just heard from the man who served as the secretary for the Presidential Committee on the National Dialogue. Doctor, thank you so much. Can we please put our hands together for him one more time? For his brief goodwill message, let us welcome the man who midwifed between the President and the National Assembly during the 13th Senate. You know what that was like, a lot of fireworks with Senator Bukola Saraki as the President of the Senate then. That must be quite a job to do, sir. Can we please welcome Senator Tayanang, who is the current SSA to the President of the Niger Delta Affair. Welcome, sir, for his brief welcome remarks.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Emeritus President of the Federal Republic, here represented by the Emeritus President of the Senate and Secretary of Government, please let me respect all protocol and invite and welcome all of you. Let me commend the authors of this book. And one of the things that I really appreciate about them is that the men who started journalism in the streets of Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, and they have graduated to the national level and have stood out and tall where. Congratulations. I also want to say that the question of the national question, should we talk or should we not talk, is becoming more urgent than it was in 2014. Last year, I had occasion, after discussing with leaders of PANDEF, Arewa Consultating Forum, the Ohaneze Ndigbo, the Northern Elders Forum, led by Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed, we had a meeting over it. And I raised a memo to the higher authorities that it is extremely necessary, because of the challenge of security and insecurity, because of the divergent voices, because of the way that everybody is saying, let's go our ways, because of the blood that is flowing everywhere, that we should convene a meet of ethno-political associations. Call the leaders of Pandev, call the leaders of Ohaneze, the leaders of Arewa, and all of them, and a few other persons, let them talk about the unity and the existence of this country and critical issues. And I specifically made a recommendation in that write-up, that in that memo, that they should take up the 2014 conference report and examine the issues that have become more urgent for us to examine if we will be able to bring down the tension in the country. That memo was forwarded by the authorities to the Minister of Special Duties, Senator George Akume. I've had several meetings on it, but nothing has left his desk on that. They've agreed on the urgency, but it has not left. So I want to say that at this time that it has been necessary to bring up the question, at least the memoirs, the issues on the national conversation on the 2014, I still call that it is necessary, even if it remains 2-3 months to the end of this administration, that we convene a dialogue of the ethno-political associations of this country, that we still re-examine some salient issues on the 2014 dialogue, which the recommendations are still germane. I was the chairman of Rules and Business Committee in the Senate when this committee was set up. And I knew the political issues that even made it difficult for us to provide budget for the conference to be funded. But the ingenuity of Mr. President Emeritus and the Secretary to Government, they sourced funds for it to be done. And after that, the committee, the recommendations was laid on the floor and was shelved. God bless Nigeria.
Can we please put our hands together for him one more time? Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished Senator Eta Enang. I was listening carefully to hear eventually this confab report will be deliberated upon and we will hear something being done. But of course, he's a distinguished senator. He knows how to go around these things. Can we please put our hands together for him one more time? For his brief remark now, please welcome Mr. Mustafa Issa, the President, NGE. Can we please welcome him? Nigerian Guild of Editors. Welcome, sir.
He said the brief remark. Thank you. You know, when the James called me, I think 2 weeks ago, he said, we'll hold today, 28th of June. I said, bros, today is my birthday. Are you sure I'm going to attend this event? But, you know, woman, my wife said, are you traveling on your birthday? And I told her, I said, look, if you know the kind of person that Akpandem is to us in the guild, you ask me that kind of question. Akpandem James is not just a member of the guild, he is a fellow of the Guild of Editors. Not just a fellow of the Guild of Editors, he is an active member of the guild. So I have no choice today than to be here. The last time we held our annual conference in Abuja, that is October last year, he reviewed the book written on the guild. Up to today, the way he wrote that book review, I said, look, this guy is a prolific writer and he's an asset to the guild. You know, yes, he was the spokesman of the conference in 2014, or the media officer. You know, anytime you send editors or journalists to certain events, they go beyond their primary assignment. As he was there speaking for the conference, Akpandem was gathering materials for this book. And I knew that he would he would write something. You know, I was about to say, okay, we'll issue you a query if you don't write a book. We were about asking a fellow of the guild, Azu Ishakwene, to do a query to him if he didn't write this book. But thank God the query is no more because the book is here to stay. So we are proud of you and we identify with you all through because you are our great ambassador. You went to the conference, you did well on our behalf. I came back, you put something together. We've always told our members, please document your experience for prosperity. Akpandem had done this today, and we are proud of him as a member of the guild. On behalf of the guild, we are going to send something to you through our treasurer before the end of today. Let me not announce the figure. You know, we are not delegates, either to PDP or APC convention, so we don't have dollar and we don't have naira, but we have something. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman, sir, our president will send something. He has told us he's not a delegate. Can we please put our hands together for him one more time? Nigerian Guild of Editors, president there. Can we celebrate him one more time? Thank you so much. Also for his goodwill, for her goodwill message. I did say he is because she's here representing Chief James Onanefe-Ibori. Please welcome for our goodwill message, former Minister of Science and Technology, Grace Akpe. Can we please celebrate her?
Thank you very much. The chairman of this occasion, His Excellency, Chief Jonathan Ebele Jonathan, ably represented by former President of the Senate, Ayim Pius Ayim. Please, at this point, permit me to stand on existing protocol. As you have been told, I'm representing His Excellency, Chief James Onanefe-Ibori, former Governor of Delta State. He called me very late yesterday to ask that I represent him at this occasion. He sent his apologies that he would have liked to be personally here, but during the times, a lot of other engagements, previous engagements, made it impossible for him to attend in person. He has asked me to commend the good works of the authors, to appreciate them for taking the time to put these papers together. I think I can appreciate the importance of this book, knowing how lazy a lot of us Nigerians are at reading. So this kind of concise edition of the highlights of what transpired in 2014 will certainly be an easier version to read and make the issues available to members of the public. Therefore, I wish to commend the authors and appreciate them. I've been asked also at the appropriate time to make a pledge on behalf of Chief Ibori, and I'll do that at the appropriate time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I'm going to say sir, but then I then turn around, I'll be like, okay, I will say sir, Ma, for that very concise goodwill message. The June 10th is a very special date to me personally because it is my elder brother's birthday. But I also just realized that June 10th is also the day that someone in this hall stepped into the 6th floor. Recently turned 60, ladies and gentlemen. Do make welcome, recognizing his presence. And we do want him to come over to the high table. Mr. President says he wants him here. Chief Timi Alaibe, former MD of the Niger Delta Development Commission. Sir, please, can you do us the honor? I'm sorry. We just have to do it. Thank you very much, sir. And on that note, I'd like to invite Mr. President, distinguished Senator Ayim Pius Ayim, as we officially unveil the book, the reason why we're here today. I'm going to hand over the microphone to him. I think from this point onward, if you didn't know before now, he's my boss. If not before now, right now he is. Welcome, sir.
Wait, I'm going to call all of you down. Let me say, ladies and gentlemen, let me say that we are getting to the most important aspect of this event, the unveiling of the book. It is likely to go on simultaneously with the launching of the book. And to do this, it is my pleasure and honor to invite every member of the high table to please join me while we unveil the book. And let me also invite the honorable members of the House of Rep that are here to please join us. I think we have, okay. Thank you so much. Well done.
Here we stand as a people with one
I
song,
think here is your mom.
with one voice. We're a nation undivided and voice.
All right. The reason why we are here, ladies and gentlemen,
Can we all try to, wait a minute.
do we have the authors here?
It is our honor, it's our privilege to unveil this book for the benefit of our national cohesion, national discussion, and indeed for the future of our nation.
Woo!
Everybody take a copy.
There you have it. The book, The National Conversation, Interest and Intrigues That Shaped the 2014 National Conference.
Where there's hope for us all. Our land, where there's hope for us all.
It is our great, MC please. It is our great privilege and honor to present to the reading public this very important book titled The National Conversation.
Can we also welcome the book with a round of applause, please?
Before we go back to our seats, let me be honored to invite every one of us standing here to say something, maybe in addition to the goodwill earlier made, to say something before we now invite the members of the audience to launch the book. May I start from you? No, I'm just going this way.
I think it's better to start with the chairman.
No, chairman will speak last.
It's in terms of appreciation of the book. It's okay. Mr. Chairman, I have the honor on behalf of Chief James Ibori, who has asked me to pledge the sum of 500,000 on his behalf.
Former Governor of Delta State, James Ibori, 500,000.
Mr. Chairman, as the book reviewer, I've read a copy before. I'll buy this for my own library for the sum of 50,000 naira.
Okay. That's the reviewer there. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Very distinguished members of this side of the room and the other side. On behalf of the people of Abak Etimegbuka Federal Constituency, I'll take a copy of this book for our constituency library in the sum of 250,000.
Can we please applaud them?
I take the copies that 200,000 naira can buy. Thank you very much.
Well, As a retired academic, an unemployed politician, I want to pick a coffee at 50,000. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, let me use the advantage of holding the mic to congratulate my dear brothers and friends of the pen for the service to Nigeria they are doing, especially at this moment, James Akpandem and Sam Akpe, one of the best that we have in Nigeria, to put pen to paper to document this historical activity that happened in our country at a time when there is need to discuss our togetherness, our oneness, in fact, discuss whether we should be together or not. I am proud of this. These my young friends. You know, I'm 60 now, so I'm proud of them. I like to be associated with them because I've done this, related for over 20 years now. I should have been here earlier and even sat with the chairman because this is like my activity. But to encourage the work they have done, these are impecunious journalists, self-propelled. I will take 3 copies of this book at 3 million naira.
Thank you, Mr. President. The authors are my good friends and my brothers. Anybody that's published a book will know what it is, either this kind of book or your own personal experience. They have done well. I join others to congratulate them and also to buy 2 copies for my library. I have library too, a sum of 500,000.
Thank you very much. I want to send humble regards from distinguished Senator Ben Ndiobi, on whose behalf I am here. He is unavoidably absent, somewhere doing the work to unite the nation. And on his behalf, I'm taking the book. I know he will send his message to the authors. For my own library, I will be launching this with 150,000 naira. Thank you.
What kind of stars it?
Thank you, sir. He's still, the job continues. Should I give you a hand, ma'am? Oh, yeah.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I can say at this point, we have finished with the high table, and we are now coming to the higher table. Please, if anybody by your own volition, you think you need to say anything, the mic is available, the floor is open. Okay. I am just told that the representative of Senator David Mark is here. Is it true? What have you been doing there? Please, you need the microphone.
His Excellency, the former President of the Senate and a leader of our party, Dr. Akilu Ndaba, the principal, Bob Effiong, Senator, Prof, Madam, thank you very much for this opportunity. The former president of the Senate, Senator David Mark, did instruct me to be here to partner with his friend and his brother, whom he had related with over a long period of time. And that is Mr. Sam Akpe. And I'm also here in my personal capacity as their colleague. As such, as their colleague, as such, the former president of the Senate, Senator Mark, said that I should tell Sam and Oga Akpandem that in due course, I will return back to them. However, I cannot leave here, sir, without telling my dear colleagues on the other side that apart from Prof, everyone seated here comes from one family. They are all from one family. And I'm sure you know their family. And that family remains the best for Nigeria. And that family is the People's Democratic Party. Thank you very much, sir.
Ogakola.
Yes, hello. No, I'm not calling you Kola. Hello, any other person who want to speak? Any other goodwill message from the floor?
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm so honored to be here. I'm representing my brother, who is the former vice chairman of ExxonMobil, Mr. Dominoyo. He asked me to pick up 2 copies of this book for the sum of 200,000, and I will not walk away without having a copy. I'll pick one for 50,000. Thank you.
Good. Any other person? You will have it right away. Any other person?
Well, it's to congratulate my brother.
But I know that
Akpandem James.
the MC has...
And his colleague, Akpe, for a wonderful piece of work. I wish to contribute 50,000 naira.
No, it wouldn't be a contribution. We will give you a book for it. Any other person? Yes, sir.
All protocol observed. My name is Nicon. My senior is seated there, Senator Effiong Bob. We attended the same secondary school. And the author Akpandem were classmates. We sat in the same class from class 1 to class 5. And probably a school may not be seen on the map, but it's 20 miles to Oron and 7 miles to Iket. And what he has done is because of a little impact of the English teacher we had. One Mr. Okebu that taught Mr. Senator Bob and also taught us. He taught us to write English very short. And I think every time I pick up Akpandem's book, I see the influence of that English teacher. And on behalf of the students who went through that teacher, who had been impacted by that teacher, and for our school, hid there, but I've met senators and I've met people in government.
Oga, please just hit the point.
I will get a copy of the book for 25,000.
Now, ushers, please make sure that everybody is able to get a copy of this book at the cover price. Are you with me? So, what is the cover price? How much? The cover price of the book is 10,000 naira. And I think nobody should leave this place without a cover of the book. Now, before I hand over to the MC to make further announcements, let me also say that my earlier remarks was in my representative capacity for Mr. President, who did not ask me to make any commitment with respect to the launching. But I believe that he will have opportunity to again meet with the writers of the book, and whatever support he's supposed to provide for them, he will certainly do so. Let me again say on my own behalf that I am proud actually to be part of this event. One, because the National Conference of 2014 was one of the most outstanding achievements of the administration of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, for which I was one. And I do know that when we were organizing the conference, like Dr. Ndabawa said, it was painstaking. In fact, it was organized by our government, it was facilitated by our government, but it was actually organized by the Nigerian people. To agree on the name of the confab, the composition of the confab, the structure of the confab, the theme of the confab, a prior committee was set up to go around the country, harvest opinion, and articulate it before the conference was set up. And I want to say that I am happy that Dr. Ndabawa had testified that there was no interference from the government whatsoever. In fact, immediately they were set up, the president called me and clearly told me that I must make sure that nobody, not myself, not anybody, not himself, interfere with the workings of the conference. And strictly, we adhered to that. So today, whether the report is implemented or not, the thoughts of Nigerians had been documented. So it may not have been implemented by that administration, it may not have been implemented by this administration, but the records are there. One day, the records will be useful. So let me say that I am deeply, deeply honored to be here, and I congratulate the authors of this book, who again had brought up this matter of the National Conference to limelight. And in order to encourage them, I need to support my friends who had also done something in this regard. I'll take 5 copies for 1 million naira.
Thank you very much, sir. Our chairman is a chairman indeed, my boss for the day. Can we please put our hands together for him? He just told us he's taking 5 copies. You heard the sum of 5 million naira. We have so appreciated the book. We have been told the cover price for the book is 10,000 naira. I'm going to ask that you please make sure you do not leave this hall without a copy. Make sure you leave the hall with a copy of the book. It will do you good and do your history well to have one of it in your library. I will definitely have one in my library. Thank you very much. At this point, sir, the next item at the agenda is actually the chairman's closing remark. You see, all in one, the chairman's closing remark. Can we please put our hands together for him one more time? I like bosses like this. Now for a quick vote of thanks, ladies and gentlemen, can we please welcome one of the authors, a veteran journalist, of course, Mr. Sam Akpe. Please put your hands together for him as he comes forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, representing Mr. President, we thank you so much for finding time to be here with us. I recall the day we came to your office and you warmly received us and appreciated this book, and you also made it possible for us to be able to have audience with the former president that you are representing today. We want to say thank you and thank you and thank you so much. We also recall the role you played in making sure the 2014 National Conference was a huge success. Thank you, and God bless you. For every other member of the high table, we want to thank you. In particular, Senator Effiong Bob has been so helpful in making sure that this book left the laptops where we prepared it to the printing press, and today is being presented here. Thank you so much. I thank you for coming this afternoon. Despite the fact that we have overstayed here, you have been patient with us. God bless all of you. And for every member of this beautiful audience, including my pastor, Dr. Kafia, who had to come in all the way from Akwa Ibom State, we want to say thank you for being here with us. Thank you. What you have done today in appreciating our work has only inspired us to do more things in future. Somebody just called me aside and asked me, when are you writing the book on the third term saga? Well, that's a good idea. Don't worry, very soon you will hear from me. God bless you. Have a safe trip back home. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for thanking us. Professor Dow Johnson, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Bingham University, is actually in the hall. Sorry this is coming late, but we do like to recognize the fact that you've been in the hall. Thank you so much. Can we please put our hands together for him? My name is Rita Onome Ewujo. It has been a real delight and honor to work with my boss and chairman for today and be the director of ceremony for this event. Thank you all for being here. Shall we now stand up for the national anthem? God bless Nigeria. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please do not leave the hall without a paid copy of the book. Do not leave the hall without a paid copy of the book, please. Make sure you get a copy before you leave the hall. Thank you very much. Sir.
What freedom, rise, and truth prevails. Our land where there's hope for us all. Our land where there's hope for us all. We'll defend our land. We believe in this nation, and we know we'll get there. We'll defend our land. We believe in Nigeria and the promise she holds, and that one day we'll shine like the sun. We're a great nation. Though we are many people, different tribes, different tongues, we're united in our strength and resolve to